Welcome back, guys, to our daily stream of chess at lichess.org. So, today, guys, I'll be playing against a highly rated player, Golampov, which have a rating of 2174, and I'm playing at around 2054. Yours truly, Darch Ayate. So, for this game, I'll be playing with against a new variation of French defense. This is what they call French defense, the Paulsen variation. So let's go to the game, guys. So here, as you can see, I played e4 as usual, e6, which is the French defense, and here I played d4, the normal variation, and he replied with d5. That's still the normal variation, and the knight c3, which is the Paulsen variation. Here he played here c6. This is actually a bad move. The normal variation is knight f6, but he didn't do that. As you can see, the engine suggested knight f6. I can push the e5 pawn. I can go to knight d7, and this is what they call the classical variation, Steinitz variation. So this name was taken from Wilhelm Steinitz, one of the best and champion and world chess champion. I think in early 90s, 1900s. So that's the Steinitz variation. But here he played the Paulsen. We continued in the Paulsen variation with the C6 variation. As you can see, he played C6, and that gives me an advantage for white. So I played here knight F3. We are still under the Paulsen variation, and he go for the knight F6. He delayed the knight F6, which is I have now the opportunity to play the bishop G5, and now he played here the bishop D7, E7. So actually, I was thinking that I should have not played this bishop G5 because I should have played the bishop F4 instead. But let's see how it goes. I played here E5. All right. After playing E5, he goes for knight F D7. Actually, this is what I'm telling you that because I played here bishop F4 and I have just lost a tempo here. When we go back earlier, what if I just played bishop f4? He can continue playing. No, he can't because he can take this pawn. So that's another variation. So bishop g5 is a must based on the engine. Also, I can play e5 also based on the engine. But here I just played bishop f5, bishop g5. Then he played bishop e7. I go e5. Then he go back knight fd f7, knight fd7. Then I go back at bishop f4. Then here he played castle, and here I played bishop uh, e2. I should have played bishop f3 here, bishop d3, but again I'm quite scared of this c pawn because the c pawn can go in this location, and after that I can push the c pawn further. So that that is that scared me. So here I just play safe, bishop e2, and here I think he played f5, which is also a bad move. I think he can play here f6. F5 is still okay, but f6 is better. As you can see, this plus one advantage for white, but if f6, that's only an plus 0.4 or 0.06 point point four. It's not that much here. So what he did, he played just f5, and then what I did here is I just played en passant. So that's e takes f6. Then he go for knight takes f6. Then I believe I castled, and then he go for knight bd7. The engine suggestion is a6, but it's quite weird. What's the purpose of this a6? Because he had already c6, so maybe he wants to push the pawn on c file. So that's the explanation there. So here I castle. You go knight bd7 here. I should have played knight b knight g5 as the engine suggested, because how you gonna defend this pawn? You can defend this pawn via going to knight b6 and going this, and you can do this, and I can do this, and you can do this, and this pawn done already. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. What I did here is just I placed rook a1. After knight bd7, I go for rook a1 instead, making development of my rook, and also preparing to attack on the back square pawn on e6. So that's my plan and purpose. Here he played knight b6. He's planning to go here somewhere on this square. Let's see for square. That's why I'm scared of that square. So I played here a pretty passive square, which is this one. Actually, the engine doesn't like that move, but I don't want to exchange my bishop there. So he moved h6. This again a pretty bad move because this just weakened the king's position here. So at this moment, I'm planning to sacrifice. I'm seeing a sacrifice at h7 or h6. Then I can attack the king side, as you can see. So here, I played queen d2. So I am seeing a sacrifice on the h6, but I didn't. I mean, I'm just waiting for the right timing to make an attack. Here he played uh, bishop d6, but I don't want to exchange my beautiful bishop to this bad, not bad bishop, but this for me, the white bishop is good, while this black bishop is not that much. So I play here. My horse cover that square, and again he can play the bishop here as engine suggested to make a pin, and to make the queen side having an activity. But he didn't do that. Instead, he took my knight on e5, in which give me more advantage as per engine. Here, I take it with a pawn. I was thinking I can take it with a bishop, but I did do that because I believe the pawn on the center is pretty good and pretty strong. So that's why I take with the pawn. And here, the engine suggestion is go back with the pawn at h7, but he didn't do that. But instead, he go back with the pawn with the knight on d7, and that's again not inaccuracy. Here I played bishop d3. I am now pointing. All of my bishop are pointing to the white, the king's, the black king's side. So they are now pointing in that direction, as you can see. Here he played queen e7. He wants to back up the seventh rank, and also giving a protection on the g7 square. But that one I made already. Actually, I made a bad move here. I played rook e3, hanging my rook at my bishop at f4, but he didn't took this. I blunder and he also blunder. Then after that, we blunder. Then it's now my opportunity to attack, to put my rook at g3. So now I am adding a piece, attacking the g7, and all of my bishop are pointing to h7, h6, and later I will be moving my other rooks and join the attack. Here he put the knight at knight c5, threatening my other attacking piece, the bishop. So I just ignore it and take just because I have a queen here. Actually, before taking the queen, I just made in between moves, because if he took, because he cannot took that because it's open check. Then also if he move his horse, it will be double check with the king and the queen, so he will be queenless. But he didn't do that, so instead he took he defended the g7 with the rook at f7. So I think this is totally over after several moves, because here I took the knight with my queen, and again the rook here and the bishop here, it's pretty bad place. So that's a problem with the French defense here. He played knight d7 again. he have been playing the knight d7 all over again. And here I played the rook, adding another attacker. I can place the rook here and somewhere I just joined the attack. Here he threatened my queen, so it's and now I place my queen here at g6. Now I'm planning to all out attack on the king side, the black's castle. So now what he did, I think he played here b5. This is too late already because the battlefield is on the king side. It's not on the queen side, but it's the king side. Now here I played rook h3. This is the fatal move because the purpose of rook h3 is to get behind the bishop behind the queen to make a check or threat on the queen. Then after that, I have the queen h7 square, so I can attack the h7 square. I can mate him around maybe 3 to 4 moves. So what he did here is just queen f8. Right. So he is running away from the king's castle already because I'm threatening here checkmate. So now bishop g5. My earlier plan is bishop g5. Then actually you can still go here, sacrifice a queen here because it's already mate in 2 moves, I think. Here, exchange and take this. You go that bishop bishop b7 activating. I can already make an exchange here, and you can go from here, you can go from there, and this is totally over because if you count, I am totally ahead of 11.4, 11.6 advantage. Then a little check from there. I can go back. Then I can bring up my rook here. Then you can bring the knight here back to make defense. This is quite hard to defend with the queen because the queen. Maybe I'll just push my pawn here on the h file, and this is totally over. Nobody can stop this pawn at h file. So I think what he did is after bishop g5, he moved his queen at d7. This is totally over. Checkmate in one, which is rook h8, and this checkmate in 25 moves in French defense, Paulsen variation. This is totally barbaric. I mean, this is totally lost. The position is lost already because this bishop is useless, this rook is useless, and this knight is out of place. And that's it, guys. And again, thank you for watching and have a good one, guys. Bye bye. God bless.